Lord, we praise you for your perfection, your goodness, your grace, your mercy that's never ending. All your ways are right. Everything that you've told us is true. So, Father, today and tonight as we go about the city's business, I pray that our hearts and our minds will be tuned to you, sensitive to hear you as you lead us in the decisions to make to accomplish your will. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Seats. Roll call, please.
John Ketcher.
Here.
Gloria Shropshire.
Here.
Dennis Nance.
Here.
Steve Smith.
Here.
Randy Chitwood.
Here.
Brianna Brakefield. Jimmy Trammell.
Here.
Yolanda Thompson. Here.
Item number 2, petitions from the audience. There are none. Item number 3, department head reports. Building inspector. Recognize Mr. Kenny Young.
Good evening. I don't have anything to report. Do you all have any questions for me? If you do, please get a hold of me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Item B, emergency management. Mr. Johnny Jansen.
I just had a couple of things. I think everybody got notified, but we're not doing the pods out at the fairgrounds any longer. I guess we got enough people vaccinated that we didn't have the long lines. It just went from one day you couldn't get an appointment until the very next week we had 1,100 vaccines and 170 people sign up for them. So just that quick, people started getting them at pharmacies, doctors' offices, and different places. So we're going to quit doing them out there. You can still, if somebody's interested in getting a vaccine, they need to get all the health department. They can still do it here in Pryor at the health department. Just call it and get an appointment. And then the other thing is, I know we talked about this a lot at the beginning of all this COVID stuff, but the Magic Juice machine is going to be installed Friday. So this is not just for, just for COVID. I mean, it is effective on flu or anything else. And people are still using it. We're going to Claremore and picking it up and bringing it over. And so after this gets installed on Friday, we won't have to do that any longer. And it's a big machine. It can produce a couple hundred gallons in just a few hours. So it'll be more than enough for anybody that wants it for Mays County. And actually, it's going to be available for people across northeast Oklahoma. They'll be coming and getting it here like we've been going to Claremore to get it.
Where will it be located, Johnny?
Over at the old sheriff's office where the jail's at. There's a room in the back. And I have to thank the fire department. They've been helping us get this all situated and put up. It'd been difficult to do by ourselves, so they helped us get all that done. But they're going to install the company's coming in to install it on Friday, so it should be operational after that. So anybody that needs any, just get a hold of us, and we won't have to run and go pick it up anymore.
Towns and other towns can use, yes, good.
Yep.
Schools.
Schools, whoever needs it.
Okay.
We'll have plenty of it. We'll have a tote. I think it's like 300-gallon tote that'll be full all the time. So if somebody needs some, no matter how much, they can just bring their buckets and we'll go fill it for them.
Are you going to need any help with buying the materials to do that with?
Well, the materials really doesn't cost a whole lot. There is the most expensive thing that we have to get is a water softener.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go to Lowe's to pick it up, but other than that, it's just regular salt and water pretty much.
What about applicator? They have, if somebody wants they'll need their own applicator.
Well, I mean, you can use whatever you want. They prefer you use some type of misting machine.
Yeah.
Foggers is what most people are using. It is salt water. It's got an acid content. So if you just fog it on something, it doesn't do much. You don't have much problems. But if you are dousing it, then, you can start getting rust on things.
Rust, yeah.
So you really don't want to do that if you keep from it.
But a sprayer on a restaurant table should be fine.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, that won't be a problem.
Just give you water, you can have a drink of it.
Anything else?
Thank you very much, Johnny.
Bet.
Fire Department, no report. Golf, recognize Dennis Bowman.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
First of all, I want to just show you all a little award that we received from the PGA. So it's great to get awards from the PGA, and I'd just like, it's a Merchandiser of the Year on our Eastern Oklahoma chapter. So I'd just like to recognize, everybody that made this thing possible. So it starts off with my wife. Without her as a strong woman, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So then, there's a lot of other people, obviously, mayor and council, a lot of people in the past that helped us get to where we're at, the park board, all the citizens, and then also, our golfing community. We wouldn't be out there if it wasn't for them. And that comes from a lot of different places, not just Pryor, not just Mays County. They come from all over. So it's those people that I want to thank. I know the award's in my name, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm glad I got it. But it does mean a lot to us. So we're very proud of those kind of things. This year, this summer, will mark my 25th year of being a PGA member. So I've had a lot of really fun times in it. So it's a great thing. It's taken a lot of work, a lot of hours, but that's all the good stuff when you enjoy what you're doing. So, and also this year will mark my 20th year of being back to Pryor. So. But anyway, that's some of the good stuff there. If y'all have seen our numbers are very good. We had a great March. Weather was good. We ran the special, so all that stuff was really good. We did $10,000 worth of cart revenue. We did $10,000 worth of green fees. And we sold $20,000 worth of memberships. Those are all kind of rounded up, and so that was a exceptionally good month for us. Very good. And April, don't have those numbers completed yet, but the first 3 weeks we've doubled all the things in March as far as the memberships go. So we have really doing good in that area. So I'm just really excited about that. So I think we're just headed in a great direction, and things are just really better than I would have expected a couple years ago. So I'm just really tickled. The Corps of Engineers brought their staff out. That would be the lady that's over all the land management, Nikki Gingrich. They also brought the guy from Fort Gibson. He's over all the land in this area. And Chris Gillen, he's their environmental specialist. They did an inspection. It's a yearly inspection we get every year. So it was kind of interesting. The guy from Fort Gibson, he showed up. His name's Greg Moydell. He's, if I need something, I go to him for approvals and all that kind of stuff. And so he asked me, he said, "Do you remember me?" He's about this big. Don't remember you, but I know the name. I know his last name. I knew his father, but I didn't know that was his son. He says, "When I was 10 years old, you gave me golf lessons in Muskogee." Oh, that's good, So I hadn't seen him, I guess, since then. So, but anyway, so it was kind of neat to see how things come around. But we had a real good time with the inspection. I think just a few, the environmental guy, they always find something. So there were some things that we just didn't even know. I didn't know you had to have the fluorescent light bulbs when they're used have to be in a box. Didn't know that. And now they've changed one of the deals. Used to you could take, on a squirt bottle, you could write Clorox on it, plus bleach or whatever, plus water, whatever you had in it. Now you actually have to have the label on it. You have to go to the website, download the label, tape it on there. So even on a squirt bottle. So there's a few little minor things that they got us for, and but we didn't know, and I think we've corrected almost, there was 4 things. I think 3 of them's been corrected so far. So, and we'll have the other one corrected by the end of the week. So just a few minor things, but the inspection went really good. Also, a couple weeks ago, the Department of Agriculture come out, and because I'm a certified applicator, they checked all the license and chemicals and everything, so I think that went really good. This last week, we had the junior high had their tournament out there, had about 74 kids, something like that. So that went really good. I think Keys won first, and maybe Fort Gibson got second, something like that. So, and this week, if the weather permits, we'll have the Pryor High School girls is hosting their tournament on Thursday out there. So there's like maybe 17 different teams coming in from all over the place. So then we got regionals after that, and the boys tournament. So it's all going great. Anybody have any questions for me?
You ever give any thought to having, you got new full-time employees, to having one of the other full-time employees become an applicator, licensed applicator?
Yes.
In case something happens to you?
Absolutely, and that is in the works, and that is actually in Alan Knoll's job description to get that. And I have gave him the books, and he has started studying, and that's quite a lengthy process, and so it's gonna take him some time to get through and study all those books, and then, you know, of course, I'm there to help mentor him and get him, but that is our goal, is to have him as a certified applicator. That way, if something happens to me, you can keep spraying and keep everything going. Any other questions?
Congratulations on the award,
Oh,
Dennis.
thank you very much,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Y'all have a good evening.
Item E, library, no report tonight. Item F, Parks and Cemetery, recognize Frank Powell.
Actually, hadn't been here in a while, so I'm just gonna do a little update where we're at. This is our busiest time of the year, so basically I'm just kinda saying, don't give up on us on the Bobby Bucks stuff. We did have several, not making excuses, the unforeseen things this winter, spring, and next thing you know, we're just into that time of year, we're busy, and it's wet season. If we don't get to it by then, what I'm gonna try to do is, the week after Memorial Day is always the 1 week when, you know, they're kinda, at the cemetery, they can't really do anything because of the flowers, and that is in the past when sometimes I have planned projects, so I'm hoping to install the equipment that week. The parking lots are being in process now, the street department's building those. And then the shelter, that'll be put off till fall. There's no way to do that until then, but, so just kinda want us, don't give up on us, we're trying, just got too many things going on right now, but, bathroom walls are up. I don't know if y'all drove by the park, the masonry part's done. And then, I'm working with that, is it Digi? The security cameras, and looking at trying to put some of those up in the park on this next budget. But they're gonna install a couple of demo cameras here Thursday and see how that goes. Because we've actually had some people try to give the contractors a hard time while they're working. Just the other day, they had to call the police on some. So, everything else though, it's going along, just like that wet season and busy, but we will get it done, I promise.
Update on the pool.
There is some issues with the pool. We got engineers coming and they're sending the company in today. There's some concrete that's popping up. We don't know if it's the hard freeze we had in February. So I don't really have any definite on the pool.
Is that gonna impact opening, you think?
Yeah, it could, opening, yeah. It
Okay.
could, yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, there's even if it does open, it's probably gonna be delayed already.
what about lifeguards you working with?
All those, I've still haven't been called on a manager
Yeah.
yet. The guards are reporting to the rec center, they're handling the trainings and stuff. There is one guard, or one I've been told that might want the manager's job, but they're waiting to see what happens with the pool. So,
Pretty extensive damage on the bottom of the pool, you think?
we want to make sure that it's safe. We're having a sonogram machine come in and do an evaluation.
There's a
Uh,
pretty big area that's, a minimum's going to be sawed out and replaced. We just don't know what it's going to be like below, and then several hollow spots throughout the concrete.
Electric, when you start hauling that out, doing that, there's a lot of electric underneath there too, you get a washboard too.
Well, we're not going that, yeah. This is just,
Yeah.
it's on the outside.
Okay.
Yeah. This is right there at the deep, where your angle goes for the deep end, and all these seams are meeting. And it's
There's a machine that they can send down through over the surface, and it can take a picture of what's below.
That's good.
And so that way we'll know if there are voids in the concrete or voids below the concrete, and make sure that once we fill it with water, after this freeze that we had that came on sudden, make sure that we have a safe environment there.
Other than the concrete, which is a major thing, for being it set an extra year, I was kind of amazed at the shape most everything else looks like it's in. Of course, every year you never know until I fill it and turn the pumps on, you know, if there's gonna be issues and stuff. But
What about, you hear every day now that chemicals are gonna become in short supply?
no, I called my company and they said hadn't even really been an increase in price or.
Okay.
They said it's maybe some of the smaller places
Yeah.
might, but where I get mine, they said no problems.
So you don't have an anticipated date, 30 days late or whatever, so?
Well,
Cool.
may know more after the end of this week.
Okay.
Frank's going to give perhaps a report to the park board
Park board.
coming up this next Monday. We should have a report back from that evaluation.
Other than that, any questions?
Thank you,
Okay.
Frank. Police Department. Chief Nichols is here. He's waving. Any questions for Chief Nichols? All right. Rec Center. Recognize Jessica Long.
Hi, I don't have much, but I just wanted to say we had 17 GRDA, well, there was GRDA Highway Patrol, Sheriff's Department, doing water rescue today at the pool. So they paid us to come out and use the pool all day, which was really neat to watch, and they'll be back again for another one in May. And then we've got, Jackie is going actually this weekend to get her LG1, so that in the past, we've had to either send guards to Muskogee to training, which is $150 to $200, or have people from Claremore come over. Well, this way Jackie will go do this training in Joplin, and then she will be able to train our guards. So she'll come back, and then we have a lifeguard training set from May 1st and 2nd. We have 11 guards on the list, and we're still in limbo about the outdoor pool, but at this point, depending on what happens, if the outdoor pool opens, then we'll rotate all the guards. If it doesn't open, then we'll increase our hours at the rec center to accommodate that, to give people more family swim time and also be able to use the guards. So we're just kind of waiting on that. Our March Madness finished up. Kelly Littleday won the Apple Watch. She walked, and I think it was 5 or 6 weeks, she walked 319 miles. So it got very competitive. Second place was like 280 something. So they had injuries, they were exhausted. Their spouses said they never saw them. But we're already looking into something to kick off in the summer. We're also looking at our summer programs, and we're looking at adding pickleball a couple of days a week in the gymnasium, because we've had a lot of requests for that. So lots of good things going on. Do y'all have any questions for me?
The pickleball we used on the tennis courts too?
Yes.
Without any impact on the courts?
No, it's just, does it have an impact on the
Yeah.
court? No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. And what my only concern with pickleball is if you have pickleball, then you can have basketball. But there's a time in the day during like 10 o'clock to noon on Tuesday, Thursdays where the gym isn't being used. So I think we could set that time aside for pickleball, and then have a separate charge for pickleball to bring in some revenue as well. And the people who are asking for it, are retired, most of them, and so that time would work for them. So yeah, we're gonna look into that a little bit more, and try it for a month and see what happens, so.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you. Street Department, and no report tonight. All right, we'll move to item 4, Mayor's Report. A, CARES reimbursement account report with discussion items to include amount of fund balance, prioritizing expenditure pathways of the funds, and the fund balance is because we have not reported all the expenditures. It's reporting the same as it reported at last meeting, 452, 340, 19. There was discussion in our Budget Personnel Committee, took an item off the table, and it was an item that was proposed for a concrete pad at the fire station, and Budget Personnel suggested that they go ahead and take bids. So what I anticipate is that would come back to council perhaps on the 4th or on the second meeting in May. I'm not sure which. That was an estimated amount of $36,000. So if that did come out at that amount, then, and it was appropriated toward the, to be taken from that CARES amount, then that would leave us about $416,000 in that account.
Does that include the reserve, or is that just in,
That does include the reserve, yes.
okay. My understanding is that they've got one bid, I think they got one bid for and it's, somebody's doing it considerably less than 36,000. They're struggling to get 3 bids because of all the work in town, so.
We anticipated it being quite a bit less than the 36,000. That was kind of a hip shot.
Yeah, yep, so,
We won't know until it comes out.
yeah. Okay.
Do y'all have any questions for me about the fund balance? One of the things that we're trying to do is perhaps prioritize how we would spend that fund balance, and we can have discussion now about that if you'd like. I know there's an item on down in the agenda that talks about that, and we can talk about that now, or we can talk about it then.
Personally, I think it's a good idea to spend it where you, on the fire station out there, then I kinda like the idea on the North Elliott project too, the deal, but I'll have some questions on that when it comes up, but I think that's where it ought to go to help relieve some of that drainage issues that we've had down there for 45, 50 years, and
Yeah.
with the new housing projects and stuff, it's just gonna get more, so,
Agreed.
so, yep.
But at the same token there, would it be possible to possibly build retention ponds where they're gonna build a new housing additions and things? And actually, not only will it be a pond to hold any floodwater or anything, but it also makes an excellent recreation for the people that have houses there. And the reason I'm saying this is because our oldest son lives in Wichita, and I got pictures on my phone I can show you. He's got a retention pond that is in the middle of his neighborhood, in his backyard, everybody's backyard, just bounce up to it. And no swimming or boating or anything like that in it, but all the fishing and all that other kind of stuff you want to, and they have walks around it, around the ponds and stuff. Geese come in all the time, so it's kind of a neat thing.
There's a lot of new additions in Tulsa that are like that.
Yeah, and you can do that and have your water runoff and everything go into that and actually do something that would be pretty nice for the neighborhood, and it might even increase the value of the property.
Well, in our ordinances, it does require stormwater to go into a retention area before it's slow release. That's part of the design thing, that we require that, it has to go in there and be released. You can't have any more water come off of it, when it's fully developed as it was when it was raw land. So then we have to have, we've got development ponds all over this town. We've got one out there at Brassfield. There's one right there at Brassfield. There was a development pond on East Plains 4 over there. The problem is that development ponds, which they've got to be done. But one of the issues that you have when you do a development pond, hope I'm not stepping outside, Larry.
No, go ahead.
When you do the developer has only so much money to spend, okay?
Yeah.
So whenever you do a development pond in a certain area, developer wants to give, let's say he's got 86 lots in an area. Well, he's gonna take 8 or 10 lots just for a development pond.
Yeah.
So now that drives the price of the lots up. So, we have to do everything we can to mitigate that, do what we can everything, so.
The problem I see with it, I'm not a civil engineer, but the problem I see with it is when it gets past what we can do with it and it gets down to where it's the Corps of Engineers problems of opening up these creeks and opening up all the brush and stuff that's in the creeks that's slowing the flow down, are they gonna get in and do their part of it? That's kind of what I'm wondering about.
Yeah.
So-
Because once it gets to the creek to get rid of it and we've done our thing, it's just gonna bottleneck it up there and back it right back up again, so.
So perhaps on item C, if we take that off the table, there's some discussion that we can have about that.
Okay.
Have some information to share at that time.
Also, we were talking about, having the museum stuff built. I don't know if we can bring it up at this time or not, but we're talking about CARES money. We're talking about having a museum added to the library at that time. I would like to see us partner with somebody if we're gonna put that much into it. We were looking at $800 and some thousand in that museum piece. I would like to put a cap on it for the city. I would like to say, and I'm just throwing numbers right now.
Okay, so that's probably another discussion, but if we want to discuss how to use the CARES Act money,
Right.
so that can be part of the discussion. I just want to draw that.
If we could put a cap on what we can spend as a city and go around and see if we had any other people that wanted to partner with us to put that in there, then I think this would be a good place for that money to be used also. Because we're right at the point where they're gonna start doing the work, so we're gonna have to come up with something fairly quickly.
So what I'm hearing you saying is we got about, I think the mayor said we had about $416,000 right at it, approximately after you do if we get approved so your
Pad,
pads, you're saying use part of that money for the library and
this is totally up to everybody.
I just want
saying-
to make sure I was clear on what you're trying to say.
Right,
Yeah.
and let's say we set our limits at, I'm just throwing a number out there, people.
Mayor, you probably need to move on
Yes,
to item B.
Okay.
yes.
That's where all that should take place.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Mr. Ritchie. And not to cut you off, but we
No,
can
that's all.
continue to have discussion.
Do it the right way.
So, let's move on to item B, unless there's any other pertinent discussion regarding the CARES Act funding. Okay, item B, discussion possible action regarding removing from the table item C from Mayor's report on April 6, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Shropshire, discussion. Call for vote.
Kitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item C, discussion possible action regarding spending the remainder of the CARES Act relief funds toward remedy of the Salt Branch Creek seasonal flooding. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Smith. Discussion, if I could start the discussion, if y'all would mind.
You better vote.
No, you don't want to vote yet?
Oh, well, we're good. Okay.
No, just starting discussion. So the preliminary work that has already been done has been with our floodplain manager. And so he is in the process of designing and giving the picture of Salt Branch Creek, not only on the east side of Highway 69, but also on the west side of Highway 69. So phases of that work, phase one probably is going to be cleanup of the Nunley, Kernut, Larimore area. So Nunley and Kernut, as Salt Branch Creek kind of flows and goes in under the box, goes through the box, Highway 69, and also the railroad. That is on the east side where Nunley and Kernut's property is. Larimore property is actually in the county, and as the creek meanders west of Highway 69 and the railroad, it meanders around through Larimore's property and then dumps out into Pryor Creek. There have been discussions with Mr. Larimore about doing that work on his property, and he is agreeable to it. And so our floodplain manager has started there at Pryor Creek, working, going east through Laramore's property, under the railroad, under the Highway 69 box, and then Salt Branch Creek, then working east. So phase one would be cleanup of the creek on Laramore's property, on Nunley's property, on Knutt's property. Phase two would be a dry retention in the creek bed, which is what you had talked about, Shoya. And so the dry retention would be up into the Salt Branch as it sits on the property that the city currently owns. Phase three would be a tributary that runs into the Salt Branch that is east and south of Salt Branch Creek, and that is the property that is east and south Mabel Clayton Street, if you understand where that is. So Mabel Clayton dead ends into property that Mr. Stewart owns, and then there's property south of there that is owned by another property owner. All of that drains into that tributary that drains into Salt Branch Creek, and so perhaps working a dry retention in that area as well. So understanding the way dry retention works, water, you create a retention area, and then you design how water will drain out of that retention area slowly. And so after it drains out, it is dry, so therefore it's called dry retention. So in talking to our city engineer, Steve Powell, I'm asking him about just hip shot numbers about what all this would cost, and the total project probably somewhere around $1.8 million before it's done. The first phase, the cleanup phase, would probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000. So that part of it would be the more inexpensive part of it, and that is the part that perhaps this CARES Act fund could go to, would be that first part of it, which would help very much. So
If you get the cleanup done, how much would that affect the floodwater at this time?
that's a question for our floodplain manager, but we know that has to be done.
Right.
I've walked a large part of that. Our floodplain manager has done the survey. He's also produced a document, but it is not complete. I anticipate that to be complete very soon, and when that's complete, then we'll know our guidelines. But that is a project that definitely needs to be done. Like Council Trammell said, it's needed to be done for a long, long time, and I feel like we probably have an opportunity. To begin that project. It will mitigate the floodwaters. It has to mitigate the floodwaters because of all of the dredging, because of the obstructions that are in that area right now.
A little brief history is that this thing we went and cleaned it out once, and it's gonna be cleaned out between 69 Highway and the railroad. You know, the railroad flooded out one time in there, they flooded that roadway. Well, we went in there and the railroad would not support us, so what we did was, we got permission, on the other side of the railroad, between the railroad, we dug that out. Between the railroad, we dug that out probably 4 to 6 feet and went along, we went north and south to hold some of the water because underneath the railroad was not big enough. My concern, and that's one of those things we have, it all needs to be, it flows down that way. My concern is that two things is, I don't recall, and I could be wrong, if there's even easements from the railroad going east on, that used to be the old Gary Crawford's land when he had the sod farm. I don't recall ever having easements, and he wouldn't give us easements, if I remember right, from that area, so I'm not sure that we even have easements to go that far, okay? I'm not saying we do or
Now,
not.
you're talking about from the railroad going east.
Yes.
You're not talking about going west, you're talking about going east.
No, going west.
That's what I thought you were saying.
We're going west, railroad going west. At one time, when Mr. Crawford owned that, we went to him and asked him about easements. If I recall, I could be wrong, we did not have easements to go across there. And that was on private property, and it was also county property.
It's also county property, and that is something that would have to be done.
Well, now Mr. Larimore owns that now, I'm sure he'd be more amicable. Will we need an agreement? My question is for the city attorney. A, would we need an agreement, a mutual aid agreement to work on county property, okay? And B, should we look at, see if we do have easements, and will we need to procure the easements before we start working there, you know?
Answer is yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so, yeah, I think we're going the right directions, but that way, but I think, and I think you go back that way. And I'm not sure, Mr. Smith I'm gonna tell you right now, Mr. Smith is the expert, state of Oklahoma. He's not only all over the United States, he's one.
He teaches the others.
He teaches, and so Mr. Smith, he's a great guy, but I think that we need to find that out. I think it's a good idea to say that we want to use this money or move it over into a special account to hold it, get it out of the general fund, for put it over in an account, but we can do that anytime, 400,000, if that's what we want to do, to go towards that. But before we, move that money over, but to say that how much money is going to phase one and get an estimate of what phase one's going to cost us from the engineer, and before we approve that phase, and then we come out and say we approve phase one, and it'll probably be next year's budget. And I'm sure my guess is right, you're gonna have to put some more money with it out of the street fund to get it done. But we do it as a phase one project and go that way and just to try to start mitigating this damage right there. Because the other issue was that it bottlenecks when it comes straight across Bonnie. It goes right over there and it goes into Dr. Nunley's pond right there. And at one time, we went to Mr. Nunley and asked him if he would allow us to put a dry retention pond there. Then it went from there across the road behind Robert Ewart's place, and we couldn't get easements there either. They would give us temporary easements. Temporary easement will not do you any good. You gotta be able to go in there and maintain that area and make sure that we can take proper care of it, because we've had that problem with temporary easements. And so, I think it's a great idea to put the money, do what the money is. And I hear Mr. Choi about the library, but I think we can come up with that money somewhere else, but this $400,000, but I would rather, I'm gonna make a motion to table this, okay? Until we have a cost on phase one, and then bring it back to the next council meeting to move the money to a special account designated for North Elliott Street project. And and I'm gonna make that in form of a motion to table this till next council. And Mr. Powell, and I would love to have Mr. Smith here, Bill Smith here, now, and Mr. Powell both.
Along with the cost, I'd like to know what the effect was gonna be, about how much this was going to actually work towards solving that problem.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you go in, if you clean out Salt Branch, and you clean out from there going west, that's gonna solve a lot of the problem. It's not gonna solve the problem on Elliott Street. Elliott Street's still gonna flood, okay?
The preliminary from Bill Smith is that it would drop the floodplain on Salt Branch Creek 2.5 feet.
That's significant, if that's what.
That's
that's
real.
That's a lot of feet.
That's
But-
real significant.
Yeah, but my thing is, but what's the flow of the water going from, you gotta start all the way, you gotta go all the way from Fifth Street, you gotta go all the way out there to the soccer fields, that water comes out the soccer fields out there, behind REC, all that water flows that way, so, yeah, 2.5 feet's significant, but I'd like to see Mr. Smith, see what that is. We all know it's a floodway, and in a floodway, and Mr. Smith is excellent on it, the restrictions on that, so, Again,
So I'd like to remind council that we also have a floodplain board. And
Yeah.
so once we get the report from Mr. Smith, then I'll go to floodplain board and I want them to be involved in that
I agree.
before it comes back to council. So,
I'm making a motion to table this until we get, take the floodplain board and then at the next council meeting, vote to put on council agenda to move the money from the general fund to a special account to be designated for that area out there in phases.
Mayor Trammell, that's,
Make a motion to table.
Table, I'm making a.
Mayor Trammell, that was
The other one.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, okay, thank you.
motion,
Thank
there is a
Second.
motion to table. There's a second.
Thank you very
Ketcher.
much.
Is there a discussion on the table? Call for vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chipwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes,
Thompson,
Yes.
Kitcher.
Yes.
Thank you for that good discussion. A few updates. Number one, the citizens own the Castle Theater. Castle Theater has been sitting vacant, and I would like to charge our city councilors to listen to your constituency, listen to those in your wards, and let's come back on May the 4th, which would be next council meeting. Let's come back on May 4th and have some productive discussion about what we might decide to do with the Castle Theater. And I will come with some history. Some of our council members have some history about that as well. But let's come back on May the 4th with some discussion about perhaps what we might do with Castle Theater. Second item, CMS Willowbrook and myself will have monthly progress meetings and be able to give progress reports at the first council meeting of each month. And so those reports will be coming to us from CMS Willowbrook. Also, number 3, cemetery streets, that's going out for bid. We should be ready for council to make some kind of approval on a bid on May the 4th. So that's something also we've been working on. Those were 3 updates that I just wanted to bring to council. We'll move on to item 5, city attorney's report. And Mr. Shropshire, if you'd handle the meeting, the call of nature is yelling loud right now.
I'll just handle it from here, if it's okay.
Sure.
Item 5A is the first reading of an ordinance changing and amending the zoning classification from ag to CAR, commercial, automotive, recreation, of a property described as set forth in the agenda. This property is the Brew Tibbs property that came before the council probably a month ago for the final hearing on change of zoning, which was approved. So now what we're doing is enacting an ordinance to actually change the zoning maps. And this is a first reading, so it's a no action.
no action, yeah.
Okay, number 6, discussion and possible action on the consent agenda. A, approve minutes of April 6th, 2021 council meeting. B, approve payroll purchase of orders through April 30th, 2021. C, approve claims for purchase orders through April 20th, 2021. D, acknowledge receipt of deficient purchase orders. E, approve January and February 2021 appropriations request. F, discuss and possible actions regarding use of Whitaker Park on Friday, June the 4th, 2021 for Relay of Life from 6:00 p.m. until midnight. G, discuss and possible action regarding an expenditure in the amount of $5,400 to Intertribal Software Consultants Incorporated for annual Laserfish subscription for general software account number 02-201-5260. Number H, discuss and possible action regarding bids received for a new cantilever walkway and accepting a bid of $34,447 to Oklahoma Canopies and Awning from Prior Creek Recreation Center Capital Outlay Equipment Account number 8484554410. Other bids received, Awning, so I guess that's what that is, Awning, yeah, Arming, companies, $44,092.27.
Thank you, Mr. Shropshire.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Moving on, item I, discussion possible action to approve receiving funds from Cherokee Nation in the amount of $15,000 to be deposited into Prior Creek Recreation Center grants and donations account 84004251 to offset the cost of the new cantilever walkway. Item J, discussion possible action regarding resolution to adoption for a fitness court at the Prior Creek Recreation Center as part of the 2021 National Fitness Campaign. Item K, discussion possible action regarding quote received from Rhino Boom Arm Mower from Chubb Implement Company in the amount of $9,860.50 at state bid price from Street Capital Outlay Account 141455411 to be expensed after July 1st, 2021. Item L, discussion possible action regarding accepting bid from Eklund Duct Cleaning LLC in the amount of $14,340 from General Repair and Maintenance Account 02-201-5091 from duct cleaning at Prior Creek City Hall. Other bids received, Air Doctor $31,986, Breathe Easy Clean Deans $36,843. Those are the items on the consent agenda. Which items would council like to remove?
A, H, and J.
Council Trammell, say again?
A, H, and J.
A, H, J,
Aye.
item I. All right, item A, H, I, and J. All the other items, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Motion Ketcher, second Smith. Call for vote.
Nance,
Yes.
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item A, approve minutes of the April 6, 2021 council meeting. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion Shropshire, second Ketcher. Discussion. Call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Jane?
Thompson,
Abstain.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item H, discussion possible action regarding bids received for a new cantilever walkway and accepting a bid of $34,447 to Oklahoma Canopies and Awnings from Prior Creek Recreation Center Capital Outlay Equipment Account 8484554410. Other bids received, Arning Companies, $44,092.27. Is there a motion?
I'll
Motion.
make that motion. Oh,
Motion Thompson, second Chitwood.
Only two bids?
Discussion.
Only two bids?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to confirm there's only. Okay, that's it, okay, all right, good, all right.
Any other questions?
Nope, just,
Call for vote.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Ketcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item I, discussion and possible action to approve receiving funds from Cherokee Nation in the amount of $15,000 to be deposited into Prior Creek Recreation Center grants and donations account 84004251 to offset the cost of the new cantilever walkway. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion Shropshire, second Chitwood. Discussion.
I need to abstain since I work for Cherokee Nation.
And I want to thank the Cherokee Nation for the donation to the city again. They are a wonderful, great partner and very much appreciated.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear. Other discussion? Call for vote?
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kitcher,
Abstain?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item J, discussion possible action regarding resolution of adoption for a fitness court at Prior Creek Recreation Center as part of the 2021 National Fitness Campaign. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Chitwood, second Nance. Discussion.
Do we have a resolution, and what number would it be?
I haven't seen one.
That's, you haven't? No.
We created a resolution. It's in the packet. And it looks like this.
But that's,
It looks like this.
yeah.
Mr. Ritchie, would you like to take
I
a look
think
at this?
I'd like Mr. Ritchie to look at
It's
it,
here.
'cause I don't care, I don't care if you can read, I just wanna make sure it's all legal and everything meets and give a resolution number, because, resolution, if it's got the proper language of the city of Pryor and all that other stuff, not just the recreation center. Terminology is correct.
It looks all in order. It would need a number to be attached to it.
2021, number 2.
2021 too?
You need to amend the motion to accept the resolution number.
Approve resolution 2021-2? Yeah, amend your motion to that.
I'll amend my motion to include resolution 2021-2.
Second the amendment.
Mr. Nance would like to amend it the second. Very good. Other questions?
Valet parking?
Valet parking?
That's what I said.
Jessica, would you like to come to the microphone and explain the process for the fitness court?
Yes, so basically, the resolution's just saying that we committed as a city for 30,000, we received the grant from them for 30,000, and now we're going to seek the other funding, which, we have started the process, we have a sponsorship packet put together, we're gonna start reaching out, as early as tomorrow morning to start talking to sponsors and securing funds, and so that's the way it's gonna look. Once we, kinda start, I'll report back and let you know, how that goes. I mean, it may take a little bit, it may not, so we'll see, but we're excited.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Other questions or comments? Discussion? Hearing none, call for vote.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Motion carries. We'll move to item 7, committee reports, budget personnel. Brakefield is not here. Shropshire, would you like to comment?
Yeah, it'll be second Tuesday of next month. I don't have the calendar out with me.
That would be on the 11th or something like that.
11.
Yeah, 11th.
On the 11th.
Yeah.
That's election day too.
Very good. Item B, ordinance insurance, Mr. Shropshire.
Nothing at this time.
Very good. Item C, Mr. Smith.
Nothing at this time.
Item 8, unforeseeable business, there is none. Number 9 is
Motion.
adjourned. Motion Catcher.
Second.
Second Smith. Call for vote.
Kitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Motion carries. Call to order Prior Public Works Authority. Item 2, approve minutes of April 6, 2021 meeting. Is there a
Motion or
motion Smith?
I'll second.
Second Chitwood. Discussion. Call for vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Nance,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Abstain.
Thompson,
Abstain.
Kitcher,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4, adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Kitcher, second, Nance. Discussion.
You skipped 3,
Yeah, unforeseeable business.
Oh, there, no,
but
I,
that's okay.
no, I did say, did
Wasn't
not
none.
say there's no unforeseeable business?
Okay.
Oh, There is no unforeseeable business. Call for vote to adjourn.
Nance.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kitcher,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Motion carries. We are adjourned. That's